Hello, myself Sunil R Nair, and here basically we are discussing the topic that is the currency basically. Currency's dependency. So we actually saw basically lots of factors basically. In this basically we saw that how basically that 12 lakh crore dollar basically is also connected. This all basically few incidents basically are directly connected with that 12 lakh crore dollar. So one person told that basically the American government basically have the list of have the diagram basically, and that is basically also you can say one matrix chart basically, that how many money basically the Indian government are doing investment in the USA, right? They are doing the investment. Indian government are doing the investment. So one of the Indian basically businessmen told that basically we are doing the investment for this 22 crore people, right? Instead of that basically what we are what getting, that was Indian businessman basically, that was him, because his money was getting invested in USA basically. So he literally asked the question basically. Then basically he was, yeah, the Indian government told that basically the Indian government basically can't basically able to speak anything basically, because that was actually genuine question basically. Then he told that basically the Indian government, one of the person told that basically you can do one thing basically, whatever things basically USA gives, that you can basically have the facilities basically. Whatever Indian 22 crore people basically are Indian non NRI basically, you can basically you can basically have the facilities of that each and every non NRI people basically. You can open your own software company, you can use the resources, you can use like that basically. And basically instead of that basically you have to pay the money like that basically. You can use that, because nowadays basically to get the resources also basically that's a lots of tough time basically. If you get the resources then also basically it's tough time. Good resources also basically it's difficult to get. That's things also basically there basically. So like this he basically told that basically okay basically I will do this only basically. So that was basically the government person basically. Because government only have this whole thing basically, that is public. Whatever things basically public give, they only basically take. So that was resources basically. He told that you can take these resources here basically. Then Indian businessman told that okay that's okay. Then Indian government told that basically yes basically now I got it. Now then basically he told that basically the investment chart basically of the Indian government connected with the Indian businessman. That chart is basically with the businessman. That chart is with the USA government basically. They basically keeps on watching basically. They literally keeps on watching basically. Whenever basically they are sitting at the stock exchange, they are basically also keeps on watching. They are basically sitting at the Parliament House basically. They are also basically keeps on watching basically. Then basically they are the health sector, they are basically also they keeps on watching basically. Like this basically they keeps on watching the investment done by the Indian basically. According to that basically they takes the action basically, and that is basically very bad things basically. That basically says that basically there is no relationship like that basically. There is no like a relationship basically in the professional countries basically. So everywhere basically it's like that only basically. Everywhere basically it's like that only basically. Earth planet is giving something. That's why universe group is basically telling that basically okay we are not doing anything for you. You just keeps on giving basically, but that's all basically. That is basically they are giving the energy basically to the universe. On the base of the energy basically they are creating the planets for the next step basically. In universe basically few people basically don't take medicine. Why? Because they say that basically these planets basically are our medicines basically. Planets basically are our medicine basically. That's basically the universe group basically are. So they creates their medicine their own basically. So that things basically is also basically there basically. So again back to the currency basically. Currency handles basically. So basically the USA group basically have that investment chart basically Not only USA basically, the South African government are also basically like that only basically. South Africa government also basically have the investment chart basically. Same way basically Indian government also basically might be having some state wise. For example, this many Malayalis basically or Kerala people basically are staying in Maharashtra. So what is the contribution of Malayalis in Maharashtra? So the Maharashtra government also basically might be having the chart. Same way each and every state basically might be having their chart basically. This system basically is very old system, but this never comes in front of the public basically. And like this basically the if like this basically wherever basically Indians basically are staying, there is, for example, in South Africa, as if that basically in South Africa around 3 crore people are staying. So there 3 crore investment basically India have to do basically. India is supposed to, Indian country basically are supposed to give the presentation of this particular 3 crore people basically. 3 crore people basically they will first say that basically we are giving you 3 crore resources basically. In this 3 crore resources, around 1 lakh people basically are businessmen basically. They are contributing to your business basically, of the South African business basically, that is there. So entire 6 crore people basically who are staying. Same way in USA also basically around 22 crore people basically are staying. So Indian government basically literally give the report basically this many people basically are staying. So what are the contribution they are giving to you basically? What are the contribution they are giving to you? That entire basically reports get print in front of the government basically. Then basically the government says that that's okay basically. So like this, on the base of the reports, the government, like same way in South Africa, the set of governments basically gets the report of the assume that basically they are basically around 2 crore 3 crore people basically are staying. Just taking as an example, in really basically the number might be totally different. They are staying basically. So this is the report of the 2 crore people, and the Indian government basically people basically say that basically this is our report basically, that this many resources are there, this many businessmen are there, they are contributing you this many money basically in your economy, and instead of that basically we are giving you the investment also basically, and we are giving you this much investment also basically. Like this, if you, this everything matches your investment chart basically, then it's okay basically. Otherwise South Africa people basically will say that basically we will do something like this basically. The business basically industry basically is like that. So that is basically different, and few country basically say that basically we are keeping the relationship basically. On the base of relationship basically the entire world basically is running with that type of country basically are also there basically. For example, in Dubai basically, in UAE basically, in Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, they basically keeps a good relationship with the Indian government basically. They say that basically we basically, you send basically whatever people basically, how many, there is no number basically limit basically, you can send any number of people to Dubai basically, we are ready to give anything basically to your Indian people basically. Like this basically good relationship people basically are also there basically. They keeps good relationship basically with the Indian government and the Indian government and the Indian people basically. They say that basically we have a good relationship with them basically. So like this basically they say that basically okay we are keeping good relationship. We are like this basically the Indian businessman, Indian government also basically keeps on doing the investment basically. Like Burj Khalifa. Burj Khalifa is basically of one of the Indian basically. So he is the Indian businessman basically. So he one of the government basically told that basically how many Indians basically are there in Dubai basically. So he told that basically around 5 to 6 lakh people basically. Just taking as an example basically, in Dubai basically. So he told that basically, just taking as an example, rough example it is. So he told that basically this many people are there, and in this basically 20,000 people basically 4 to 5 lakh people basically are Indian. And in Indian basically there are around 10,000 people are basically businessmen basically, who are basically contributing to the Dubai economic basically. So if your investment chart basically matches, then it's okay basically. Otherwise we will tell the for 4 to 5 lakh people basically, that are the people basically, but the businessman basically only handles the country basically or in the city basically. So they basically get the information that this is the scene basically. So you have to handle the things according to that basically. In next video we are going to see a little bit more about this only, that the investment chart of the each and every country.